How's it going? How you doing, Mr. Noel? Yes, indeed. It is Wednesday. AfroEconomics Live. Just couldn't do it. Ooh, I couldn't deal with their music. I don't know if y'all can hear mine, but it feels good. How you doing, Angela? How you doing, Mr. Noel? It's a
Just to
blessing.
get off of this.
It's a blessing to see Reverend Bozeman and Miss Davis in the studio. They are going to help us get some justice. Get some justice. Yes, yes. Get everything you want. Yes, indeed, Phil W. JB in the building. Queen Howard. Look at you. I can still see you in my mind from the other day. Beautiful, beautiful self. You and your beautiful self. Mr. Jefferson, anybody out there from Baltimore? Anybody out there from Baltimore? Not close to Baltimore, but in Baltimore. That's right. I want to see who's in Baltimore. I don't know why, but I was in Baltimore not that long ago. And I want to see who's there. Who is there? I don't think we have a member with a address in Baltimore proper that I can think of. That I can think of real quickly. But I tell you, it's a blessing to be here. I love this topic. I kept hearing weaponization, judicial weaponization this week. And I was like, oh my goodness. They are using the term that is real for us. It is real for us. Do you know what that is when you weaponize the judicial system? Do you know what that is? Like I was looking at a story today, and there's this brother asleep in a vehicle. He fell asleep, and someone reported the vehicle. I think that this is what the story says, that they came up to the vehicle, but it was like really early in the morning because he was still asleep, and it was in the neighborhood, and cars back to back. So I don't know how somebody saw the license plates, because it was like cars all lined up in front of the homes, and it wasn't in the city; it was in the suburbs. And they're saying that the reason that they woke him up in this deep sleep in his car, and what happened was one person got in the car next to him, and one officer got in the back seat. And so he woke up and he took off with the car because, I guess, out of reflex, I don't know. Because he, just woke up, like they have it on camera, and he just started driving off, like just flying off. So I guess it must have been somebody in front of him, or had some extreme talent, because he didn't hit anybody's car, like coming out. He just got it, and was like, what's up, like, and then flew off. They didn't even say, like, this is the police or this so and so. And he's driving, and one officer jumped out of the car, but the officer in the back seat shot him 5 times. 5 times. He's gone. He's dead. It's horrible. I don't know how they could think that you can just wake someone up and they're not going to go smartly into defense mode, especially a man who's going to like try to defend himself. And they said a weapon was found in the car. Has absolutely nothing to do with like shooting him 5 times in the back. Like he doesn't even know at this point who these people are. I saw that happen to someone else, and when they busted into his apartment and he pulled out the gun, but he pulled out his gun to defend himself, which was a registered weapon and everything. Now we don't know if this, if this was actually a his own registered weapon. I'm gonna get my background again. That we don't know that, so it's like interesting that like you just wake up and you have this instinct that I'm gonna defend myself, and your natural instinct to defend yourself becomes their right to kill you. How you doing, Miss Davis? Now Miss Davis is out of the studio because like she just reserves the right to just like switch around. I can see her running around. Irvin Bozeman, like you see her like run from one place and run to the other. Let's see. Let me show it. Mr. Newell says they showed the body cam. The supervisor told the officers not. He sure did. He sure did. You're right. He told the officers do not enter the car, but they went anyway. That's so true. They didn't even knock on the window. They went straight in the car. And then when he drove off, they killed him. But they have decided that what they did was okay. I think they like made some sort of determination now that it was justified. Sickness, like last week's topic, the cost of violence, and he had just had a baby, brand new little baby. Yeah. look at the back. I'm so glad I'm not on Wi-Fi. That's why when you do a presentation, don't use Wi-Fi. That's what it was when I was downtown at that studio earlier this week. And the Wi-Fi was like freezing. Then I listened to it, and then I found out y'all couldn't hear Carl Nelson's questions. You could only hear my answers. And the reason I pay all that money to go to that studio is for them to make sure that you can hear Carl Nelson. That's the point. That I got up that early in the morning. I could have just done a phone call. But it was like, I wanted y'all to be able to hear Carl ask me the question. I tell you, yes, they were wrong. And definitely, Mr. Newell, they were wrong. And they should be charged with murder. Exactly. I don't care if the car was stolen or not. Like, again, they're equalizing our life to this material item. No. Oh, well, the car was stolen. So certainly we have the right to get in the car and scare him and then shoot him because he responds in a natural instinct way. It'd be different if he pulled his gun out on them, which he did not, and he had it available. So there wasn't any criminal intent, in my opinion. It was, I gotta flee from this situation. He didn't even know the person was in the backseat. My goodness. It's so sad. Terry said the sad thing is it's still happening. Yes. And we're still, talking about it. It's still happening. But like to think about it is like, why do we vote for these people that get these salaries to be our representatives politically? And they don't understand why we're not motivated to vote. They'll go, you should vote. You should vote. But see, when we used to like really be aggressive about voting and Fannie Lou Hamer time, she was fighting for us to have politicians that actually stand up for us. Now we just have people that have a job that they don't do well. And we continue to vote for them, like the Congressional Black Caucus. And they keep talking about how the judicial system is, like even especially now, where our past president is, their argument is that they're weaponizing the judicial system. It is a perfect time for a Congressional Black Caucus to not be party-minded, but to be about their community that they're put there to represent. Straight, we're the ones who voted you in. And you're not going to take that point from them that we are victims of the weaponizing of the judicial and criminal system. And every day they get new examples of how it is done. Just like I heard a family member today, and they were just talking like really, really bad, about the past president, and that when he did that to the Central Park Five, and he said that, they should be charged and everything, nobody actually talks about the fact of why he said that they should be charged. He said they should be charged because they confessed to doing something they didn't do. So if it was the other way around, we all know that we would have done the exact same thing if there were 5 white guys that attacked this black lady in the park. We would have done the same thing, I hope. Said, you better charge them guys because they confessed to raping her. So why in the world would he be accountable to us for apologizing for something that we did not do? The first problem is you gotta be willing to die for truth. Period. It was hard for him to even imagine that a human being would go in there and lie because he has never been through the black experience. Never. 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 So when somebody said they did something horrible like that, it is impossible for him to fathom that their father would tell them to go and say you're guilty of something as grotesque as that. Horrible crime. And our little boy's father told him to do it because of the judicial system that has been weaponized against us. And the man said, well, I feel that my son will be better off lying. Because they begging him to lie, He might as well give them what they want. How can you expect a white person to understand that? Especially a rich white man to understand, to give you the benefit of the doubt that you would lie about a crime because he has no idea about the numbers and how we are over convicted. And it's hard for him to even imagine that somebody in the back office would be sitting there forcing these boys to do that. But we don't have one black person to say that. But now you got this, aggressive movement towards this crazy crap over him and a prostitute. But you got all these guys that are still in jail wrongfully. That very intelligent brother that we have has a lot of other work to do. But it seems as though instead of getting federal money to help get us out of prisons, when you know that you have cases in the yin yang of people saying that they're innocent and they were made to say they were guilty. You got this. I mean, you talking about something, but I think you think that I'm supposed to think that that is his responsibility to take care of my people. When you can't even get him. You can't even get the brother in there now, Harvard educated, to realize that he is wasting his highly intelligent mind on that stupid crap when he's working in the neighborhood in which he grew up in that he knows is falling apart, and the federal government won't send a dime to help him do that job for the people who deserve to have the protection. But they'll send him money to do that because they're on their own agenda. But who is on our agenda? Because we wiped out a generation. We think, this system is, you got that sister down there in Memphis talking about, I came to make things different, but then she creates the Scorpion unit that goes around harassing black people. Report after report of harassing black people. Imagine how many different people got locked up, charges, in jail. Do you know how much it kills your income once you have that record? Information everywhere. Amen. This is so true, Nathan. Nathan said politicians should not be considered our leaders. It's so true. We must have leaders that we choose from amongst us and stop picking people just because of the money they make. If they make money or they got a nonprofit and this and that, as long as they're taking something, then we're all about it. Well, or they're going around. If they're hungry like that, they don't have no time to look out for you. Obviously, they're just, going around speaking and talking and not doing anything but one by one, collecting payouts. One by one. But how many people have to die? How many generations have to be ruined? How much do we have to lose? Crime is getting worse and worse. Because you got people that you have put into the criminal injustice system unjustifiably, and now their record is all messed up, and they're out here and they can't get anything else to do. And they get hungry and they get determined. But the numbers show once you get locked up, your income is gone. It's done. They have information to show that after a white person goes to prison and gets out, that they come out and their money goes back up. The trajectory is upward. When black people go get incarcerated, get back out, there's no opportunity for us. The income goes down. There's no income. And the whole time that you're in prison, they're paying, cents on the dollar. We're getting over. One thing that I know that they said about that district attorney in New York is that he is making a point to try to stop the charges for every little thing. And stop putting everybody in jail for every little thing. But a lot of times when they say a little thing, he's deciding what's a little thing. And when there's a little thing to them might not be a little thing to you when you're the victim that it happened to. But the point is, though, that if you come with money in the system that we're in, if you have money, you're a lot less likely to spend any time in jail. So the young man in New York, he was a teenager, I believe. Y'all may know the story. And his family couldn't come up with the $2,000. It was like $2,000 that he needed for bail. It was like, some petty crime, but they couldn't come up with the money. So they end up like sending him to like serious prison. And he wasn't supposed to go there. They just assumed that somebody could come up with the money. Nobody could come up with the money. They never came up with the money. So when the little boy came out of jail and just had to do the time, who does the time? People get 30 years for killing someone and they get out. I know someone had a sibling that killed a police officer and he's out. Like that. So this little boy, he can't get out. $2,000. It's pretty sick. To me, murder is pretty straightforward. Somebody needs to go to jail and not get out. Self-defense, a different issue. But if you straight killed someone, the least they can do for the victim's family is make sure that that person is not out chilling with them again. But the little boy who couldn't come up with $2,000, he's stuck in. So he gets out and he kills himself. Because he was not mentally prepared nor physically capable of handling that experience in that prison at that age. And he kills himself. And that wasn't enough, though, for them to like, oh, we got to do something. We got to do something about the system. I don't understand how we don't see that not having $2,000 is sick. It is really sick. It's just really sad. It is really sad that we can't get together and make sure that this mother gets her money. Like, she couldn't just go to the local politician or the local church or, someone and get the young man out of prison. Like Nathan said, we're thinking of the wrong people as leaders. I don't know what we're doing. And that's why we see the kids like growing up and respecting, criminal behavior more than the hypocrites that are seen as successful. There is nothing legal about that. There's nothing like correct about exploiting, the system like this, and taking a job and then not doing it and representing the people that you promised that you were going to take care of. And it's nothing like for us to just always like put the responsibility on someone who has nothing to do with us. Like there has to be a point where someone says that we have responsibility for ourselves. Like, I feel responsible for you. I feel responsible for you. I don't understand how we're thinking that it's okay to not feel responsible for one another as human beings. Like, that I feel like I have to do my best for you. And I have to do, be the best that I can be for you. And that I have to be honest for you. And I have to protect you and make sure that you're not scammed. And I have to give my people the strength to say the truth, even in the face of a liar who's telling you to lie, you still have to tell the truth. And I don't know, and you got to stand by your truth. And the more that you have to sacrifice for your truth to be heard, is you have to convince your children of that. Because if you're not made of that, then they don't have anything to look up to. Then their truth becomes whoever is telling the truth. And a lot of times that is somebody not in the house. So that's why they pursue that, because at least it's real to them. It's legit. It's true. Terry said, the narrative is always the same. Have you ever seen a black officer with his knee on a white victim? Exactly. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Exactly. Exactly. We have to stop fueling the same narrative and stop doing things differently with action. Exactly. And in order to do that, like we have to, it's going to require sacrifice. Period. You know, it's a lot of sacrifice. I've sacrificed a lot. And I mean, like you should see, like I can see the numbers and like, you know, the discussion, like people don't even want to talk about it. Like, you know, so it's like peaked, and then now we have like, you know, people that are just pulling out because they don't want to feel responsible for even themselves. They want to be like that the government has a responsibility for planning my future, and the government has a responsibility for protecting my kids, and the government has a responsibility. You know, it's always that and they, you know. But it's time for what are we going to do in order to lift our mindset and our thoughts and our sense of discipline. You know, that every time someone like the young man that just got killed and was asleep in the car and he was shot 5 times in the back, you know, his mother came out and she said, you just don't understand, that's my child. But what I want to know is, why weren't you outside that car? But they were like, oh, that's not nice, you know. No, but how many times did you call him that night? Because, you know, he's only 17. That's a baby to me. Who is concerned about him that looks like him? So who was concerned? Who was concerned about him that looked like him, that, you know, can be accountable, that why he was asleep out there? This is a father of a child, like, you know, the 13-year-old or even younger in DC that got shot by a complete idiot, but he thought they were breaking into cars. And this one, sleep in the car. Like, you know, that obviously society has decided that these things are more valuable than we are. Sunglasses, and you shoot the man in the chest in Nordstrom's and kill him. Run them all over the street. They running over some sunglasses, you know. So, yeah, 6-month-old baby, exactly. Yeah, it was. He said he just had a child. Like you know, so that, and most likely if we look, that the challenge started previously in someone else in the family having a life in crime. You know, that is going to, you know, change the way he even sees it as a, you know, career option. You know, that he's gonna, you know, like if you don't see that, you know, A lot of times you're not going to try to be that. But if you see that as like, oh, this is the come up, this is how I, how I come up, like, we have to realize, like, that's real. Look at this. Brennan Center for Justice. Mass incarceration has been a driving force of economic inequality. The wealth gap has disproportionately affected Black communities for decades. COVID-19 and our criminal justice system has made it grow. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about, COVID-19 and what we're going to do with that, and how, COVID-19 and the situation is going to impact Black wealth even more dramatically, because they're spending, money on stuff. They're concerned about who's going to be the next president. But what are we concerned about? Like, we have to, in my opinion, stop being involved in party politics. One time this lady walked up to me and she asked me for money because she was raising $20,000 to have lunch with Michelle Obama. And she wanted money from me so that she could present the $20,000 raised for the Obamas. And I said, no, I have payroll. I have payroll to make. I don't get to sit at swanky lunches, you know what I'm saying, and ask other people to pay for my seat. I really thought that when people like do that and they give $20,000, I thought they actually gave the $20,000. But no, they just go around to other people and get the money. And then they go in and act like they had that money. Part of which would be mine. I'm glad we got that out up front. Because, as a hardworking person, I get so tired of people wasting my money in an attempt to support, what they're doing. And in most cases, they're not even doing anything. The protect and serve, not shoot to kill. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And night is young, sis. They do have a responsibility, but we have a responsibility to not get frustrated. No, because that's like in order for us to improve things, we have to to teach. As I was saying, like the average, not even the average, there is no white person that can understand the Black experience. So as a Black person, we also have different Black experiences. Like there's a certain experience that a person would have where they have a father that would tell them, say that you're guilty because things will be easier. Like, I can't imagine having a dad like that. Because that dad had a different life experience than my dad. My dad didn't grow up in New York. My dad grew up in North Carolina. A hard weekend, for him was just, praying that he get from point A to point B in the woods and that the white police officers don't pull him over. But in New York and his father and why his father was like that, I don't know. But I pray to God that my dad would not ask me to do that. I don't think the parents realize what an influence we have. And I definitely want us to take responsibility. You know what I mean? For everything. Like, you know, and be honest. And that's going to be our best way out. Like, what can I take control over that will make the world better for the next person after me, or make the person working with me, that I make a commitment to making sure that I do everything that's in my client's best interest, not mine. And I believe that I still can make a living, because I do, and we both can win. But I remember calling the brother one time because he had lied to a client that the accountant had told the person to call me. And the brother said, what, y'all don't think I'm supposed to make no money? And, you know, because he was robbing now the client that I had taken from him. But the client was out of like over $120,000 that had just gone, disappeared. And he's talking about, don't you think I'm supposed to make some money? No, you are not. You do not have the right to rob this brother. You do not have the right to rob anybody. But I just couldn't understand, like, why you think you're going to sit there and lie? He had like made material, printed the material, made the presentation, straight lied. That is the worst. That's the kind of stuff that is an issue that causes us to be in the system. Because what if my client had gone crazy? I mean, people have done a lot of damage for less than $120,000. Thank God my client was cool, because then they would have locked my client up, you know. He's sitting there saying that stuff. My client was so mad. But I think that, like, you know, we blame it on, like, you know, one brother told me during COVID, when I was telling him that, you know, things that he shouldn't do, like, don't take advantage of all of this stuff just because it's available to you. You know, like, you could, you know, make sure that anything that you apply for, anything that you do, any paperwork that you sign is actually true. And he said, well, that's what they do. And I was like, I don't know they. I don't know they, but I know you. And you will get in trouble if you do what you're anticipating doing because you think everybody else is doing it. And they're still locking up people over that COVID money. And I knew it. I said it even on our Wednesday night stuff. I was like, y'all who are making up businesses and doing this stuff, do not do it. Don't participate. And we were joking, like, so-and-so ain't got no business. People, like, they were listening, like, some of the small papers in Virginia, they were, like, actually writing down, like, the names of the businesses, and people were looking at it where, you know, that they knew that person ain't never had no business. But that's government money, so they could find it. Yeah. Then there were, like, nonprofits that were setting up shop, encouraging and helping us because they were getting paid for every loan that they got you to take out. I know, exactly. Ask Wesley Snipes. No, they ain't going to jail for you. So that's what, you know, a lot of misguided stuff. A lot of bad lawyers, too. A lot. Yes, and then it says the Brennan Center report, the Brennan, the BRENN that it calculates the dollars, how criminal convictions set people up for a lifetime of diminishing earnings. And it says it perpetuates poverty while fueling racial, health, and economic inequality. They said the sheer number of people impacted by the criminal justice system, this is not a problem we can afford to ignore. The sheer number of people, but a lot of those are blacks and the Hispanic community, is really hit by this as well. Oh my goodness. It says the prison system creates a 52% reduction in annual earnings. And after you get out, there's little to no growth for the rest of your life in income. Little to no growth in income for the rest of your life, and then they wonder why people go back and do more crime. Why do they go back and do more crime? Because we have to figure out, if you're putting the person back out, why do they have to deal with having that on their record forever? It says 70 million Americans have a criminal record. And 8 million of that 70 million have been to prison. Wow, this is that the Brennan Center study, however, is the first to calculate how many have been convicted of a misdemeanor. So at least 45 million of that 70 million were misdemeanors. And it says roughly 14% of the US population. It says the total amount of money lost each year by people who have a criminal conviction and who have spent time in prison is at least $370 billion that are lost in earnings. Lost in earnings. $370 billion, with a lot of that hit being ours. Black and Latino men and women. So Black and Latino men and women make up more than half of all Americans who have been to prison. The disparity likely stems from decades of discriminatory policies and over-policing of communities of color. Black and Latino Americans are less likely than whites of the same socioeconomic group to see their earnings recover. The study says that suggests that imprisonment traps them in low-wage jobs. Yes. White men and women who have been to prison miss out on about $270,000 in their lifetimes. And it says white people who have not spent time, and that's 270 over their lifetime, compared to white people who have spent time in prison. That's not that big a difference. But the formerly incarcerated Black and Latino people, nearly 360,000, and 510,000 for Latino people. Then, so they're saying that Black people that have been to prison, their income is lowered by approximately 360,000. Well, Latino community, it's at 500,000. Yes, and so that is definitely something that is really hurting Black wealth. Mm. Ms. Davis says she knows someone that was fired from work for falsely doing COVID documents to get money. Exactly. Mm. It's real, y'all. So like when we said like, you know, tell the truth, like at least like if we make a commitment to that we're going to make sure that everything is based on honesty, that you like could just put that deep into your children, that at least they'll know, you know, I was wrong, and I don't do stuff just because everybody else is doing it, and I'd rather go without it if it's not mine, and I'll walk before I'll steal a car. You know, like you want to get that like deep into their head that everything that they want, they can get on their own without harming another person to get it. And maybe what you want is not for you to have until, not even maybe. What you want, if you haven't earned it, you don't get it. There's a sense of unnecessary entitlement that they're not creating. It's something that we're allowing to get into our community. And we have to shut it down. And and stop allowing people to just use us. Stop, you know, voting for people and allowing them to not do their job. You know, one time they did an article in a Virginia newspaper, and it was about like finding out how the person that you vote for really votes when they have something that comes across their desk. And they were showing how a Black Democrat, most of the votes that and this was a man, that he was doing were going towards Republican issues like that. So it's like he's in this party, but he was there to do service to the other party. So it just, he caught on, you know, that I can get this done for the other party by getting in there. And how am I going to get in there? He said, well, I guess he said, I'll get in there easier by saying I'm in that party. And how many times is that actually happening? You know, or what is actually being done to allow people to have really good re-entry? To get things, you know, what can be done by, you know, the politicians so that we're not over criminalized like that? Why is it that a Black person will not pay their bills and they're much more likely to be taken to court, like a judgment and things being taken against them for not paying their bill, when they compared it to the white person doing the same offense was not taken to court? No judgment is drawn. We're much more likely to have a judgment drawn against us. You know, these are, you know, the type of things that need to be changed. That is real discrimination that can stop you from being able to get the job that you need. And that can be put right into a computer system by zip code. So even though you think they don't know what color I am, you know, I did this online. It depends. There's so much stuff online now. Even if you live in a zip code that is majority white, they still could know what you are. Because they said in the research that a Black person is still, even with the online system, much more likely to get turned down for a loan and they can't even figure it out. How it's happening. Same criteria, and the white person is being accepted for the loan and the black person is not, by the machine. Somebody knows what's up. Somebody knows what's up. So the black wealth all the way back, because wealth starts way back. Like during Black History Month, I shared in the cost of slavery that 20% of the original white wealth, is still in the system. They still have it. At least 20% still have it. Yes. And Abraham Lincoln was so afraid that white people weren't going to continue to be rich that he drew back the 40 acres and the mule thing. And he said, oh, wait a minute. I'll just make sure that y'all around here, that, y'all get your money back. Like all of the white people that had slaves in D.C., they were bought out. The government paid them for freeing their slaves. So they got restitution, but the black people, no, we didn't get any. No, that is our system that goes way back. So when you're starting off with less, and you worked hard in the war, promised 40 acres and a mule, and you don't get it. But you don't get all that time back that you worked all those years for the government to help them win the war. But you still don't get the money, the acres and the horse that's going to pull it so you can work your land and everything. You don't have it. No. And then they said, well, you know what? If you go out west, you can have whatever land you find. Go out there and get that land. So black people went out there, and then white people came with guns and said, thanks for clearing the land, but you got to go, or I'm going to kill you. And there was no government protection. So we're starting with this. We're starting with nothing. And then you talking about after slavery, you could go like that Martin Lawrence and Eddie Murphy movie, Life, was joking about how they got in the system, but then they ended up, in jail for life. But that was real. Because it was like, well, you can't have a slave, but when you in prison, you gonna be my slave. And that still exists today. The prisons are making furniture, making whatever prisons make. They have people working, and that fraction of the hourly wage that they should be getting. But yet they're selling the products that the prisoners make. And we let it go on. I don't know. And what do you think, Reverend Bozeman? I don't know.
One of the things I think is that we need, you say the poverty and the lack of opportunity and the wrong decisions come from way back because our parents are not properly trained. And because they're not trained, then we don't get trained. So we don't know what services are available because, the black people, are served these subpoenas and they're frightened by it, but they don't know that they need to go down to the courthouse and file an answer. And they don't know that there are lawyers out there in these nonprofit organizations that are ready to help them and can dump this thing or get this thing dismissed just by writing a letter.
Mm.
Because once they see that you have a lawyer, then they stop bothering you.
Mm.
It goes away. Um,
Kind
so
of.
it's a matter of being properly trained or in your youth as
Mm.
to what's out there, and we don't have that. It's available, but we are unable to
Mm.
take advantage of it uh, because we don't know it's there, which
Or
is
having someone, yeah, or
which
having
is
someone to talk to
yeah,
about it.
exactly. In terms
You know.
of coming out, there again are ways to get around the stigma of being uh, having been incarcerated, because there are
Mm.
organizations out there that can help you get around that.
Mm.
And I can remember doing training in San Quentin for a while. They had programs for people who were about to get out, 6-month programs, and I was one
Mm.
of the trainers there. And then the new warden came in and canceled all of it.
Mm.
The prison's not for rehabilitation, prison is for punishment. And he
Mm.
killed all this stuff that was helping these people survive after they got out of prison. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
so yeah, that's again the system is being weaponized against you. Uh,
And they're trying to
at,
do that now. And when they send them home now, because they were just trying to let people out,
yeah,
they were letting people out with mental health issues.
right,
And the families were like, we don't know what to do with them. Like, they, first of all, they really were in the wrong prison with the mental health issue that bad. Like, and then they came out and, they did things so that they could get back in to feel safe. They probably felt terrified out here,
yes, yes, yes,
where, because they had been in there so long, and then they just kind of said, you're free, go home. And then, but think about the risk of the people at home with a person that is straight out of prison and not getting the proper support. And
exactly.
they may have children and everything. So it's, our our system is really sad.
It
Like,
is.
you've created this problem, and then they don't want to support the problem. No, and I would say that if somebody did 20 years, they probably need at least 10 years of support, at least.
I agree.
And they don't, and you can't even get education now. You can't go to college. You can't, I don't even know if I think they let you finish high school, but you can't, that's really sad. So but then you have the person who's out and has a child that's in prison, and she can't save her money for herself because she keeps having to send money to the prison,
Right.
putting money on the books and making sure that they have these things. And that is a really, I think that, like, people think, oh, these people are in prison, so the prison pays for everything. But it doesn't. Like, they have to have
No,
money at home.
no. And even
Yeah.
when they come, though, even if they get out and then they have a bracelet on their foot,
Mm.
they have to pay for that bracelet.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to pay an exorbitant fee for that bracelet. Uh,
Wow.
if
Each
you've got
month or
somebody in
something.
prison and you want to call them,
Mm.
you're being charged an exorbitant amount of money by the
Talk to
minute
them.
to
Wow.
talk to them. So yeah, there's the system is definitely waged against us, and
And the
we have to
person's,
come
yeah.
up with a different way of
Mm.
overcoming this, because you're right. The people we elect into office get in and they get dazzled by the opportunity to be corrupt and
Mm.
to generate large sums of money,
Mm.
massive amounts of money, and they forget what they got there for.
That's right.
Um,
That's
and so
right.
we've got to go over that.
That's right.
People smile and shake their head when I say we can overcome it with prayer. We can overcome it by going to God. But if we do it collectively,
Mm.
then what we can do is we can change the system because the system cannot resist God. The
Mm.
trouble is not enough of us are doing it, and therefore
That's
that
right.
power is not being applied for
That's
our
right.
benefit. But we are a very religious people. We need to be more spiritual than religious,
That's right.
but we have so much power as spiritual beings having a human experience that
That's
if we
right.
can begin to understand that and come together and apply our prayer to the to elevating the community, it
Mm.
will be elevated. Ask and you shall receive.
Mm.
But
We
at this,
definitely don't have anybody saying that, like any, you know, any politicians with any level that I have met of any level of consciousness that will recognize the unique challenge for our community. That this isn't like, there's someone who thinks like, oh, I'm rich, this doesn't bother me. But, you know, I serve in a lot of wealthy people, and they feel the impact of this as well. Like if you have all of those people, 70 million people that are incarcerated. So
mhm,
the that's people of people's family. That's not just and then it impacts them for the rest of their life.
it does indeed.
And some people, their parents were incarcerated, and they never even knew that person that went to jail. You know what I'm saying? Because they were born after they got out, came home, but that child is still impacted by it because their wealth and their earnings of that parent is limited because of that life experience in prison.
Yes.
And that's a problem, because you should be able to do your repentance, and come out and grow just like a white person does.
Yeah.
Why is it
Yeah.
that our community, you know what I mean, is just flat, is forever beaten down by that? No, and that.
Well, we've got to learn that it has to come from us.
Mm.
When I was in San Francisco, I created a nonprofit community development corporation, and Mayor Willie Brown was the mayor,
Mm.
uh, and I had the false belief that he was going to be helpful, but he was as corrupt as everybody else, and he had his minions throughout the neighborhood, the Bayview Hunters Point neighborhood,
Mm.
and at every point I was seeking to block them and stop them and churn it around,
Mm.
but I was vastly outnumbered. But I must have had some effect because one day I got called into City Hall for a meeting with
Mm.
this group of black people who were very powerful,
Mm.
and they wanted me to come to their side because I was causing problems. And it's like, you're a smart guy,
That's
you
right.
can get rich out here
That's
if
right.
you come on our side.
That's right.
Uh, but they had been seduced by the money and the power,
That's right.
and they couldn't understand what it was that I was trying to
Mm-hmm.
do. I was just
Mm-hmm.
a thorn in their sides,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I know that I was more powerful than a single man should have been
Mm.
because I was praying a lot about it.
Mm.
But still,
Mm.
it wasn't enough because I was the only one doing it.
Mm.
Uh, so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
our power can be
Mm-hmm.
magnified greatly if we would just
Mm.
come together and focus our prayers on the right subject, which is
Yeah.
elevating the community.
Yeah. And that's I wanted to kind of pull us this way because the news is dominated by that shallow story. But I want us to see in this story, as they are indicting that past president, think about how different that his experience is if he were a black man or a black lady. You know what I mean? His whole, the indicting process, his like, and they're, referring to that they're weaponizing the judicial system. I have not heard one black politician say that yet about our life experience. Like, I mean, and they jumped right on it. Indeed, they are. Indeed, they are. They are using the system to their benefit.
Yeah.
But we have to realize that that is what has been done to us over and over and over again, even while we were enslaved. Like
Yeah.
that. If a black a slave committed a crime, you know what I mean? They were going to get hung, and it is going to be aggressive, and it's going to be, and you think about the confidence that he has, like our
Oh,
past president.
he's got a lot of
It
it.
is amazing to me that we don't see that that is the difference between his life experience. That's the difference, his life experience and ours. And that is the way that when those boys were brought in there by those cops, how different that experience would have been if that had been his son. A lot of it is because of their whole life experience, how they approach the whole situation. Are we going into that with a little bit of doubt, like maybe my son did do this nastiness? And you don't even know who your son is. Your son would never think about that. Your son would never do it. But how much has the system tarnished your view of your husband or your woman or your child, because you're buying into what they say.
Yeah.
It's like the people that don't like me because I'm talking this way. And somehow talking this way makes you think I'm going to beat you in your sleep. Isn't that sad? You equate that to that. So if I, oh, blah, 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 blah. So how somehow I'm sweet, but then I'm going to get you locked up right when you become a movie star and you're going to be in jail, and I'm going to be writing little text messages to you that you're going to have to post up there, try to save your life and your career. You got locked up, but did she talk like this? No. She was like, oh, don't do that. Oh. Come and get him. Come and get him. He is jacked up. That guy from Creed, he is done.
He's done.
And she is trying to put Texas, and I told him you would never, oh, you so and so. She don't know rule number one. If you love that black man, you better not dial 911. What kind of world does she live in? Because they don't know. That's what I'm saying with our past president. They don't know. They're she's living in some TV show. She don't even know who you are. We think you're a movie star. She thinks you just fairly ugly black guy that I decided to date, and now he think he too much. You think you're gonna get a phone call and I can't see your phone? Are you out your mind? The girl was like, 911, he won't let me see the phone. Come get him. Get help. Isn't that something? Different rules, exactly. I mean, how much does it take for you to catch on? So I can't expect her to do anything different. It's like this. There's a story last year, 2022. This black man let his white girlfriend stab him in the chest.
Ooh.
And when she finally decided to say true story, Google like OnlyFans model stabs black boyfriend. She had already stabbed him like 3-4 times. Had put him out. She would bring other men into the apartment and make him sleep on a cart. And this was a fairly better looking black guy. This one, like, and she was through with him, and I gotta get him out of my apartment. Stabbed him. Goes to the police station, and they said, he died. And I mean, the girls straight up like nasty, fake stuff, gorgeous. So she's in the police station, and she said, "Could somebody hug me? This is on the recording." And all those cops go over there and hug her over the guy dying, and they let her go home. They let her go home. His family had to fight and fight and fight and fight. Like a year later, after like she moved out, she got a new place, she was doing good. They had finally arrested her or whatever. She's probably never going to get charged with that murder. Stabbed him in the chest. He was on the phone. They said she didn't even call when it first happened. She called her mother first. It's like, Mom, I done stabbed the guy in the chest. Like, I don't know. Still didn't charge her for murder. Then she called the police, and the guy's in the back. He ain't even smack her upside the head. This brother never touched her. He's in the back. This a 6'5", 200 and whatever pound brother. He said, "I'm dying. I'm dying." And he died. And you don't even know about this story. Let it have been the other way around, where this brother called his mom after his, oh my goodness. That would have been all over. But somewhere in their mind, it's hard for them to believe that this brother did not hit that girl. She said it was self-defense, but in no self-defense wounds. She worried and crying about he dying. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know he could have thrown her across the room, killed her, even before. Never one domestic violence thing on him. It was always something she did to him. She would do something, and the neighbors would call, and they'd come in, and she was throwing everything everywhere. Never did he do anything. But it's hard for them to believe that he could not have done anything. And she would just stab him in the chest. But why is it so easy to believe that he would do it?
Because he was black.
Yes. Telling y'all, we have people, whoever you're voting for has to wake up. Has to wake up. And most importantly, as you said, we have to pray that everyone, even our loved ones, renews their thoughts and visions of who you are and what we are. I just always have to pray that, dear God, may they see the best of me. No, because it seems like the more you love, the less it's seen. I never thought I would grow older and it would be so hard to love. Because people don't want it. It's so sad. I want to look out for people's best interests, but they don't want to. They don't want it. They don't, want anybody looking out for their best interests. It's almost like, we've had this programming where we just want to be scammed. We don't think about um, even our own best interests. Because if so, then why will we eat the way we eat? And why will we talk the way we talk? And why will we be entertained by the things that we're entertained by? And why will we, do things that are so self killing? So, as Reverend Bozeman said, like, it starts with us. It's going to have to. It has to. Because I believe that the more we love ourselves, the more comfortable with you'll become with the opinion doesn't have to be popular. It just has to be truth. Just
Right is might.
amen. We got to go to the side of truth. Amen. But I appreciate you. The So the bottom line is, take your finances seriously. This April is Financial Literacy Month, but we have it all the time, all the time. But I think that this is a big part of Black financial literacy, is how much of the wealth numbers, when they talk about the wealth in the Black community, how much our numbers have been damaged by the discrimination in the judicial system.
But we can overcome by allowing ourselves to be led and advised by you, by someone like
Mm,
you, because you have our best interest at heart, as I said in the commercial I did,
mm,
that you understand our plight, you
mm,
understand our needs, you understand where it is we want to go and where we need to go,
mm,
and if we listen to you, then we will get there.
mm,
Uh, and so the people we here who are fortunate enough to be part of your family are
mm.
greatly enhanced in our growth towards building wealth and building financial stability because you're holding our hand as you take us to that place.
I hope
So
so.
thank you for that.
No, thank you. But I hope so. But I wish it was that easy.
No, I didn't say it
But
was easy.
yeah, I know, right? I know, right? He said I can never say that. But it's just like the more but I the I think that more of us need to be entrepreneurs. More of us need to be entrepreneurs, and I think that with that, you would know how important every dollar is. But because we get in these jobs, I think it gives you a false sense of security. And when they let you go, like, we're not equipped to go and move forward. And I feel that a big part of Afroeconomics is to create a support system through all the realities of life, so that you're not the only one. Even like I had a client their son um you know was incarcerated, and we had to talk through those issues on when on how best to protect them, but at the same time, the reality of, like, when a family member makes a mistake, they have to take some responsibility too, and taking care of first things first.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people go in, but they have children who are on the outside. And I feel if a family member has to choose, you take care of the children on the outside. And then, because especially if they did that and they know better, if they're guilty. Because sometimes we have a family member that is guilty, Don't give them an excuse out. And don't make it all cushy, and don't feel guilty. Especially if you've been all in teaching them the power and the importance of truth, and they do that. Don't allow them to pull that victim card, because there's too many true victims in our community.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
You know
Mm,
what I guess the rest of the family realizes this, but but in these weekly meetings, we don't just talk about financial issues, and
amen.
so
Amen.
uh, that
Amen.
can be seen as a detriment because this is a financial group, and we're building
Mm-hmm.
our financial intelligence. But what people don't realize is that so many other things affect your financial stability. So many other
Amen.
issues affect how you do financially. So they need the gate needs to be open, and all these things are fair game for discussion,
That's right.
because as we discuss, then everybody gets to see that maybe my problem is not the only. Maybe I'm the only not the only one with this problem, and
Amen.
maybe being here is helpful to me in that regard, because now that I understand where I'm coming from on this issue
That's right.
that's affecting me emotionally and therefore affecting me financially, I'm better
Mm.
able to overcome.
Amen. Yes, and when you see survivors or overcomers over something that you're in, it's your inspiration. It's like, oh well, Reverend Bozeman went through that, or oh JB went through that, or oh and it does. Like, we need to have positive examples. We have to stop like um, secluding ourselves when we need the help the most. If not, you're gonna fall subject of whatever is convenient. And then a lot of times, and even in my industry, as a licensed person, I have to know my customer. It's a violation if someone is actually selling you something and they don't know about you, if they were licensed. But many in our community deal with people who are not equipped nor regulated. And we have to stop doing that. If you take your wealth seriously, protect yourself. Protect yourself. And so that you'll make, better choices. So a lot of times we don't really feel that we're worthy of a person really caring about us. It's like they'll want the person to, like, unfortunately, and not to be really graphic, but this is true. There are some people who, if they go on a date with someone and the person doesn't try to have sex with them, they think that that person doesn't like them. But the person who doesn't try to have sex with them on the first date, he or she might be thinking, no, I just want to get to know the person. So a lot of times, like, that happens with me in doing business. The person will feel like, just sell me something. Just sell me something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, no, I want to get to know you, and I want to know what you need. Like, I got, like, do you know how many hundreds of thousands of stuff I could sell to you? Like, but I want to know what is appropriate for you. And that takes time. And that takes time. So I feel that a good thing is to know if somebody's pressing you too hard, that's not who you should be with on many levels. On many levels. And that applies to a date and in finances. If they're selling you something and they don't know you, they're coming in, but it is true. If you think back, anybody that was trying to go too far, too fast, you know, did they really care about you? I can't, like, so You are worthy of someone that will invest the time in you. And that's why I have the No Excuses membership. That you can't say, well, I can't afford the $30, because I have the free one. All I want is that that you just want, that you have the desire, and I believe that that's how God presents himself to us. He doesn't force himself on us. God, you know what I mean? Our relationship with God is not forced. It's just obvious. And he wants you to get to know him. And he wants to get to know you and help you and go and be there for you through thick and thin.
God does not shout, he whispers.
Right? Mm. And when I have to like take the time to hear it, I feel like I would have been rushing so much. It feels so good. 2023, I just made a commitment to live, fully live. I hope that you all are doing the same. No, live. Don't rush. Take your time and with your children, with your family, like stop rushing. Mm. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Reverend Bozeman. I saw Miss Davis out there. Thank you, Miss Davis. She probably still watching. She's still watching, but I know she's still working. So I appreciate you all and sharing. Please share this if you think that this discussion will be of help to anyone else. Please share it with them. You want to share anything before you leave us, Reverend Bozeman? You good? Great.
I'm good,
Great.
yes.
I will see you Friday, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you all so much. Yes, and email me and check out Reverend Bozeman's YouTube channel. Look for Arise. I hope you saw that under his name. There it is. So he's on this chat as well. The great. Arise. Arrise. One day we have to ask him, why do you have two R's in it? And great. And you have a great week. And if you will all be, I don't know about this Friday because it is Good Friday, but I'm sure after I pray about it, I bet I'll still have our members only on Friday. Yeah, she's at the JOB. That's right. Well, we appreciate you, and it was good to see you. Thank you. They got you busy. You all have a wonderful, wonderful week. And email me anytime. I'm gonna put up. This is the where you would like put your phone up, and it'll take you straight to the website. The QR code for the membership. I love the little lights that they have around it. What is in this one? What is this one? And then I don't know if it puts that. I don't know if it puts it up there while you're. Oh, I should have told Terry if she had asked her if she recognized anybody in there. Oh, the other one is up here. The AfroEconomics. I don't like the way it presents that, right? But that goes to the AfroEconomics.com website. But this will be in our archives. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel at your convenience. And email me at jb@jbbryan.com. And I have the AfroEconomics.com. Let me show you. So there's the email. You can pause it if you're looking at the recording, huh? And then the website that is up behind me. And you can click through. And because it's Financial Literacy Month, don't hesitate to email me. And just like I offered to the people listening to Carl Nelson the other day, just send me an email and I'll send you the ebook format of the book. But I'll be happy to send you a free copy of the book in a PDF. And you can definitely go to the membership site and click to get the book. But this is a gift for you. So just email me there. And the email is also jb@afroeconomics.com. Or you can also go on the website and click that little blue, and that will send me an email too. But the best email to use is jb@jbbryan.com. Because I tell you, I'll have to go to all those different emails, and sometimes it'll be a minute before I get to check the other one. But the one I have all the time is this one, jb@jbbryan.com. Yeah. Old habits are hard to break. So that's the one I check all the time. And I just didn't want them all to come together. I don't know. I just wanted to have the individual emails for some reason. Because you can forward them. Service@jbbryan.com I do get a copy of that one. So that's another email you can use as well. But for the book, email me. And once you're a member, you get the book too. So if anybody did their membership and I haven't sent you your book, make sure that I send you your book. I have to tell Chelsea that. Make sure that all the new members get a copy of the ebook, because I want you to know all 10 principles. Like Reverend Bozeman said, it's not just about money. It's about 10 principles, when the core of it is our relationship with God, the soul of your money, all the way down to Black health and wealth, keeping it healthy. Love y'all. Have a good one. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to play something. See? I don't know. I don't have it. I thought I did. I was going to play something for y'all, but I'll play it next time. No, that's not in my little videos. I have some videos, but there was a particular video I wanted to play for you. Check here. And oh, look. There's also t-shirts on the website also. I don't know that guy. Just somebody, a graphic artist found. One day he's going to find it. He's going to be like, that's my lip. I don't know what it is. Oh, I didn't have that. I was supposed to have my little logo up all night too. And I didn't. I tell you. Well, you have a good one. I bet I could click this thing and not even talk the whole time. Just click up all this different stuff I have on here to click. Take care. Have a good night. Thank you for the opportunity to share. And I appreciate it. Wait a minute. We need it on Friday. Oh, okay. Well, I will see you on Friday. Good night, all right back to you, Mr. Jefferson. And I'll be looking for you on Friday, Mr. Jenkins, as well. That's right. And this is it. I finally got it at the right place, but I'm gonna show y'all again Friday. This is the t-shirt Mr. Jenkins got me. Look at that. Nah. That is exactly my bike too. That is so cool. Exactly my bike. Oh yeah, can't wait to wear it while I'm riding. See y'all. Good night.